Hello, everyone. My name is Eva Hellström-Lindberg. I'm a professor of hematology and a clinical hematologist, and I work at the Karolinska Institute at the Karolinska University Hospital in Stockholm in Sweden. I have been working with MDS more or less for the last 40 years, and among other tasks, I've been leading the Nordic MDS group through 35 years of successful research. Clinical trials in hematology and in MDS are utterly important in order to find out what will be the next treatment for the future. We have to do clinical prospective trials in order to, in an unbiased way, try different treatments on various subgroups of patients with MDS. If we don't perform clinical trials in a good way, and if we don't take the effort to do also randomized prospective clinical trials, we will never for certain know if one treatment is better than another treatment, and if one treatment could be more harmful than another treatment. So clinical trials are essential. The opportunity for patients to enter clinical trials vary from country to country. In a region like the Nordic countries, it's usually so that you will have an automatic access to one university hospital in your area, and there people work together in a clinical network, and you can then ask for clinical trials. It's very uncommon in these countries that you advertise for patients for clinical trials, for example. I think that the same goes also for countries where you have strong clinical networks. For example, for MDS, you have good trial platforms in the UK, in France, in Germany, and in many other countries. However, in some smaller countries, it may be more difficult to get access to clinical trials and thereby also access to new drugs that may help you. In such countries, it depends on the country, but I think it's very important that you ask your doctor to be referred for second opinion to a specialist. It doesn't have to be university clinic, but at least it should be a hematologist with good knowledge about MDS and also a good network, so that person could ask colleagues in other countries. It may be difficult in some countries to get access to new drugs because different health authorities and national systems look differently in what to pay for and what to not to pay for. And in some countries, even very well-developed countries, some drugs are simply not reimbursed, while in other countries you can get access to most things. So in Europe in particular, I think that you have to ask your clinical hematologist and really request a referral, at least by telephone or by letter or email, to a colleague that knows more about the situation regarding clinical trials. In other countries, like in the US, I think it's very much different than what we have in the US. Some centers have very good access to clinical trials, while other centers are quite far from such care. And I think their looking for advertise for clinical trials is more common than it is in Europe.